Hey everybody, Jake Marsing, 5280 Sports Network, 5280sportsnetwork.com, managing editor, Broncos beat guy, Nuggets columnist, part-time presidential historian. You can check my Twitter timeline from President's Day for that. Here back in the Sportique studio where we're going to look again at some NFL draft prospects that I think make sense for the Denver Broncos. Now, last time we did this, we called the series Finding Broncos, but that's small. That's small bananas. We're not talking about just finding Broncos. We're talking about looking up and down the Broncos draft board at who makes sense for them and who they may be targeting in the upcoming 2017 NFL Draft, breaking all those guys down. So we're going to be changing the name of the series. Why? Because we feel like it. The name of the series, the Broncos Big Board. That's right, here on the big board, we're going to be looking at prospects up and down the lineup that the Broncos may be looking to target. When it comes to positions of need for the Broncos, it starts and it ends on the offensive line. Unfortunately, it's a really bad offensive line class, but there are a couple of guys that stand out, and one of those guys is the guy we're going to be looking at today. He's big, he's strong, he's Alabama's Cam Robinson. Now, when I talk with scouts and people around football about Cam Robinson, I get a lot of pushback, a surprising amount of pushback. There's some people that are worried about his motor, his football acumen, how he's going to perform at the whiteboard throughout the interview process. There's a lot of off-field issues that come with Cam Robinson, but those things to me become secondary when you look at Robinson as a prospect and you really examine what his capabilities are. And for Robinson, it starts and it ends with his frame. This dude just looks like an NFL offensive lineman. So let's bring Cam in here and have a look. Cam, how are you? I hope you're enjoying the combine. Good to see you. This dude's freaking massive. Look at how big this guy is. He's 6'6". He weighs about 320 pounds. He's an absolute mauler, and he uses that frame, uses that size to do really effective things with his body, with his hands. And that's the thing that excites me most. These measurements, the weight and the height measurements are great, but the arm length measurement from the combine is what excited me most. His arms measured in at 35.5 inches, which is really, really good for an offensive lineman. Makes him comparable with Nate Solder, the Patriots All-Pro left tackle. Ryan Clady had arms that were about an inch longer than Robinson's. This puts him in the upper echelon for arm length, and that really shows up on tape when you watch him. Because this guy right here, this guy knows how to use his hands, knows how to do it, even against some of the best pass rushers in college football. Let's go to the film room and see exactly what I mean.
So I want to show you two plays that come from the same game. It's Alabama's game against Texas A&M from this past season, where Robinson is matched up against Myles Garrett, a guy who I think is not just the best pass rusher in the SEC, not just the best pass rusher in this draft, but probably the best overall player in this draft. This game really illustrates how Cam Robinson is able to use his hands, use his long arms to keep guys like Garrett at bay. Let's go ahead and roll it. And you see right away how Robinson's able to get a good punch in, keep his hands up, get leverage on Garrett, and hold Garrett back. That play right there that we just saw is a great example of Robinson's ability to use his hands, and it's something that I am really excited about with this guy. So let's go back and look at this other play that I think is just as excellent. This play is from a different part of the game, but it illustrates the same point. I want you to watch Robinson's hands. Watch how he's able to get a hold of Garrett, not to hold Garrett, but get a hold of Garrett and keep him from getting the edge like he's trying to. And Garrett's even going to try and spin out of it, but Robinson's able to keep him in his grasp. You see Garrett get a good jump off the line, but look at that first punch. Look at that punch from Robinson. He uses that strong hand to hold, and Garrett's trying to get out of it right there. We'll watch it again right here. Watch his hand. Watch his hand. Boom, right there. You see how he hits the point of attack, and then Garrett tries to get out of it, but Robinson's able to hold on to him because he's got that strong, really well-built, really proportional upper body. Now, this is one of the best examples of positive plays in pass protection that I've seen from Robinson, a guy who I really regard as a excellent run blocker, but a guy who has a lot of room to grow in pass protection. Plays like this show me that he's going to be capable of doing the things that he has to do to be successful in that part of his game, as well as being the mauler, the road grader that he is as a run blocker.
Now you see right there on tape, that arm length made him really compete well with Myles Garrett, who I think, again, is going to be the best guy in this draft class. His arms are longer than Joe Thomas's by a considerable amount, and he's got a ton of pop in his hands, and his punch is fantastic when he's able to land it. However, he does have some flaws on the field. He's got some balance issues in his feet that make it tough for him, and he leans in a bit too regularly on his blocks, which can make him a liability in pass pro. I could show you more clips from that game against Myles Garrett where he does get blown by because he's leaning too hard and Garrett just takes the edge on him and bends around. But when he's able to use his hands and get effective punch, there are few people in college football at his position better than Cam Robinson. When talking about Robinson, it's important to remember that this is one of the worst tackle classes in the recent history, really, of the NFL draft. It's certainly the worst one that I've studied since I started doing it about 5-6 years ago. This kid is maybe the only bright spot that you have if you're looking for a tackle, and Lord knows that the Denver Broncos are going to be looking for depth at tackle. So Cam Robinson makes a lot of sense for the Denver Broncos. So here's my final verdict on Cam Robinson. This guy is a road grader. He's a mauler. He's so well built. He's so proportionally strong, and his hands have a ton of pop. He's got some issues in his feet which need to be worked out, and balance issues concern me, but I think those are correctable as long as he's able to get his motor going, and that comes back to the off-field issues we talked about. How's he going to perform in the interviews? How's he going to perform at the whiteboard? All these things are going to factor big time into Cam Robinson's evaluation, and whether a team is going to go with a guy like Robinson, who could potentially be the better long-term option, or a guy like Wisconsin's Ryan Ramczyk, we'll look at later in this series, who may be a little bit of a safer but less high of a ceiling kind of pick. So the million-dollar question now: can he be a Denver Bronco? Damn right he can, and he should be. The Broncos are desperate for help at tackle, and as they move away from the Gary Kubiak zone blocking offense into a more power-based run scheme, Cam Robinson is exactly the kind of tackle that they should be looking for. This guy is big, he's physical, he's a mauler, he's got big-time pop in his hands. I think he's going to be a really excellent option for them at the next level. Cam Robinson, a really good talent, but I want to see how the draft process plays out for him and how he's able to work in the interview room. My grade on Robinson is a solid B+. He's a good player, has the potential to be a really great one if he gets in the right system, works with the right coaches, and really develops some of those more finesse points of his game in his feet. That's the thing that I'm looking for out of Cam Robinson. So hey, that'll do it for this edition of the Broncos Big Board. Next time we're going to talk about the first quarterback in our series. He's North Carolina's Mitch Trubisky. We'll get to him on the next episode, but until then, I need you to do me a favor. If you're watching this on YouTube, click that like button. Give us a like. Also subscribe to the channel so you can get Nate Lundy and Sean Drotar's Morning Minutes, Matt Smith and Rich Kurtzman game recaps, all the great stuff that we offer on the YouTube channel. And if you're watching this on the website, 5280sportsnetwork.com, go to the YouTube channel, do the same. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, go to the website because I post my full scouting report on guys underneath the video on the website. So go over there, check it out. We'll talk about Mitch Trubisky next time, but until then and for now, for everybody, 5280 Sports Network, especially that guy, Ryan Green, holding the camera, making me look somewhat skinny. No, not really. That's hard to do. This is 5280 Sports Network. We'll see you next time.